Hey YouTubers, Glock Chef here. Coming to you tonight because I want to talk to you about a topic that's very important to me and should be very important to you. The reasons why I and many other Americans like me choose the need to carry a defensive handgun for protection rather than any other means. I'd also like to take some time tonight to talk about my very first carry gun and why it's still important to me even now, 10 years later. The reason I carry a gun is very simple. A lot of people take it and try to explain it and make it out to be more than it is. They try to make it some kind of fantastical alternate reality where they, the concealed carrier, can rush to the aid of the damsel in distress or rush to the aid of the mall that is in panic and stop the active shooter. Realistically, 99% of the people out there who are carrying a defensive firearm are never going to find themselves in a situation where that's going to happen to them. A vast majority of people who carry a concealed firearm will never even have to draw that firearm in self-defense. That's a good thing. If you can make it home and your self-awareness and your situational awareness has prevented you from having to draw your firearm, then that, my friends, is considered a win. That is a good day. The best gunfight, the best defensive situation, or the best incident that you can find yourself involved in is the one that you completely avoided altogether. It's awful hard to get shot in a robbery if you avoid the robbery altogether. So that being said, if all these things are true, if all the statistics are against the need to carry a defensive firearm, if all the statistics say that I'm never going to be in a position where I'm going to need that weapon to defend myself or others, then why bother carrying it in the first place? Well, it's like this, folks. I carry a fire extinguisher in my vehicle. Realistically, I don't believe my car is going to catch fire tomorrow. I have a fire extinguisher in my kitchen. I have a fire extinguisher in my bedroom. I have smoke detectors throughout my house. Am I worried or paranoid that my house is going to catch fire? No, I'm not. However, I do realize that sometimes things just happen that are beyond my control, that are beyond the control of anyone that I might surround myself with. Sometimes karma, nature, the environment, unknown forces that I have no control over, no way of having any knowledge of, and no experience with, have an influence on events that might affect me and my family. There have been robberies where people have come into a restaurant, just passed a note across the counter and said, "Hey, I'm robbing you." There's also been robberies where people have come in, fired rounds into the ceiling. There's been robberies where people have come in, ordered everybody to the floor, robbed all the patrons. And then there's been the few robberies where they rounded everybody up, took them in the back, and executed them. I refuse to be that victim. I refuse to be the person on the news who has passed away in an incident like that. And I refuse to have my mother being interviewed as to what she's going to do now without her son. I refuse to be that guy. I refuse to have someone force me to do something against my will without having the ability to do something about it. After all, isn't that what being an American is all about? Standing up against tyranny, standing up against someone who's trying to force their will on you without your permission. Our country was founded on that principle when we fought the British. So, that being said, that's the main reason why today, in modern times, even knowing that the odds are against it and statistics are against me, I still carry a defensive handgun. Because I know that sometimes things just happen. And it's better to be prepared for things to just happen and wait and worry and think about it rather than just go idly by hoping it never happens in condition white like the rest of the sheep, just waiting to be slaughtered. Now, that being said, there are many other legitimate reasons to carry a handgun. Perhaps you've been threatened. Perhaps you like shooting, and carrying a handgun is just another extension of that hobby for you. Perhaps you have to work with a handgun. You're a security guard. You're a police officer. You're a protection agent. Or, hey, maybe some of you guys out there are Secret Service or super secret spies. You never know. I guess if you told me, you'd have to kill me, right? That being said, there's a legitimate reason for every single person out there to carry a defensive handgun. But there's a few people who shouldn't be carrying defensive handguns. I'm going to go into that just ever so briefly. If you're the type of person that wants to go buy a handgun, show it off to their friends, and flash it around in public, you should probably not be carrying a handgun. If you're the type of person that wants to buy a handgun, go home, load it up, throw it on your hip, and not ever go to the range or get any training, you should probably not be carrying a handgun. If you're the type of person who's going to just trust what any old guy on the internet says and just go buy whatever he says you should buy, you should probably not be carrying a handgun because, well, you're not mature enough to make your own decisions. What you need to do as a person who's deciding whether or not to carry a handgun is you need to take in information from all sources. You need to read the technical manuals. You need to watch YouTube videos from more than one person. And you need to take training classes. Shooting is a perishable skill. It's more of a perishable skill for someone who has no formal training in the fundamentals, no formal training in the safety of handling of firearms, and literally no time to practice on the range or actually take training on the range. Your most prepared person to carry a handgun is your person who takes a safety course, such as that put on by the National Rifle Association, that put on by your local gun shop, or sometimes police departments in your area may have training courses as well. There's also a variety of tactical classes that go on throughout the nation for those who want to take it to the next level. But don't be one of those guys who just goes to the gun shop, buys their first gun, gets your license to carry, loads that gun and throws it on your hip without ever shooting that gun or ever practicing with it. At that point, in my opinion, you are just a liability to yourself and others, and you should not be carrying a handgun. It is a very, very serious decision. When you strap a handgun on your hip, you are deciding that you and you alone have a power that is not held in the highest courts of this nation. You are deciding that you and you alone have the right to be judge, jury, and executioner on the scene of an incident. That you alone are going to be the one who decides that this person trying to rob me, this person trying to kill me, is guilty of this crime, and this crime is punishable by death, and I'm going to draw my defensive firearm, and I'm going to end this person's life. Obviously, no one is going to be thinking of that when something happens. They're going to be thinking that it's time to stop the threat. They're going to be scared. Maybe a coherent thought doesn't form in their mind. But you have to realize that the power that you wield when you carry a handgun is not just that of life and death. It's that of consequence versus reality. The reality of the situation is, if you pull that firearm and you make the wrong decision, your life is over. You're going to go to prison. So you need to very carefully weigh your options for self-defense. If you're the type of person that is mature enough to handle the responsibility of the power of life and death, then by all means, take a training course, buy a handgun, and put it on. But it is not something to be taken lightly. It is quite literally life and death. That being said, on to a more fun topic. I do want to talk to you guys about my first carry gun. It's a Springfield XDM 40 caliber. Back when I was just a wee lad of 18 years old, I was working a security job, and I was offered the opportunity to become an armed security officer. It came with a significant pay raise. However, at the time, I wasn't making enough money to purchase a handgun. My mom, being the gracious and generous woman that she is, "Hi Mom, love you," said that if I got the job as an armed security guard, that she would furnish me the money to purchase my first handgun. I said, "Well, Mom, you know what? We could probably pick up a used Glock for around $350. It would fulfill my needs." And she goes, No. There's something you've been looking at. I know how you are. You're a gun guy. Even though you don't own a gun yet, you're a gun guy. I know you've got one in mind that you want. So let's go buy that one, and then you won't ever have to buy another handgun. Mom, I love you, but you should have known better. So this is what I settled on. My Springfield, my XDM 40 cal. As you can see, it's been well carried. It's been shot. It's got I don't know how many rounds through it. This gun has been my companion, my friend, for over 10 years. I've carried it for competitions, I've carried it for work, I've carried it off duty, I've carried it on duty, I've carried it to some funerals of some of my best friends, I've carried it to funerals of people I've lost in the line, and this handgun has been with me through all of that. I don't carry this handgun anymore because, well, someone gave me some Kool-Aid and now I carry a Glock. But this gun will always hold a special place in my heart. It's always been easy for me to shoot. It's always been a fun gun for me to shoot. And yes, I know, it's a 40. I know what everybody says about 40, but it's still a reliable caliber, and it's still a lot of fun. So, if you get the chance to pick one of these up used, I highly recommend it. This gun has been my faithful companion for over 10 years. And, well, if it serves Glock Chef well enough, it'll serve you well enough. I'd like to give a quick thanks to my cameraman. He's volunteered to help me out with this project. His name's Andy. And I'd like to give a quick thank you to those of you who have already seen my introduction video, those who are going to watch this video. If you like what I have to say, if you have an opinion to share, please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell to get the notifications that a new video has been released.
Thank you, Andy. Don't forget to hit the little bell to get a notification for a new video. This is Glock Chef, signing off.